time you open a website, any website, you are looking at a structure built with a very specific language. That language is HTML. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how the entire web gets built, piece by piece, from scratch.
So stick with me here. This might sound a little weird. What on earth does a website have in common with a car? I know, it sounds random, right? But it's actually the perfect way to get your head around the three big technologies that power basically the entire internet.
So check this out. Think of HTML as the car's frame. You know, the raw metal skeleton. It gives the car its shape, it holds it all together, but it's not pretty. Then you have CSS. That's the shiny paint job, the fancy rims, the leather seats. It's all about the style. And finally, JavaScript, that's the engine. That's what makes the car actually do stuff. But for right now, we're just going to focus on that very first piece, the absolute foundation, the HTML frame.
All right, so let's really dig in. What exactly is HTML, and why do we call it the language of the web?
Okay, so it stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Let's break that down. Hypertext is just a fancy word for the links, the things you click on that connect one page to another. That's what makes it a web. And markup? Well, that just means we mark up our text with special tags to tell the browser, hey, this is a headline, or this is a paragraph. So you see, it's not a programming language that does things, it's a markup language that describes things.
And here's the part that's kind of mind-blowing. Every single web page, I don't care if it's a tiny personal blog or a massive site like Amazon, they all start with the exact same basic skeleton. It's like a universal blueprint for the entire web.
And there it is. That's the whole starting point. That DocuType thingy just tells the browser, hey, we're using modern HTML. And then everything, literally everything for the whole page is going to go inside those HTML tags.
So think of that HTML tag as the main parent. And right away, it has two kids, the head and the body. This idea of parents and children is super important in HTML. It's all about how things are nested inside each other to keep everything organized. So what's the difference between these two? Well, the head is like the behind-the-scenes stuff. It holds information for the browser, like the little title you see up in the tab, but the user never actually sees the content of the head on the page itself. The body, on the other hand, that's the main event. That's where everything you actually see goes. All the text, all the images, all the links. If you can see it on the page, you can bet it's inside the body. Okay, enough theory. Let's get to the fun part. Let's start putting some actual stuff on the page that people can see. First up, headings. These are absolutely crucial. The H1 is your main top-level title. You really should only have one of these per page, and it's super important for search engines and for people to know what the page is about. Then you've got H2 all the way down to H6 to break up your content into logical sections and subsections. Now for just your regular old text, you're going to use the paragraph tag, P. It's simple, but you will use this tag all the time. It's a real workhorse. It just tells the browser, hey, this is a block of text, and it automatically puts a nice bit of space around it to keep things readable. Remember when we talked about hypertext? Well, this is it. The anchor tag, or A tag, is what makes a link. You use that little href attribute to tell it where to link to. It's crazy to think about, but this one little tag is literally what makes the web a web. Want to put a picture on your page? That's the MG tag. Now, notice how it doesn't have a closing tag like the others. That's because it's self-closing. It doesn't need to wrap around anything. It is the thing. You just give it a source, which is short for source, to tell it where to find the image file, and boom, it appears on the page. Okay, so if you look at any modern website, it's not just a big jumble of text and images, it's organized. And the way we do that in HTML is by thinking in terms of boxes. We group related stuff together inside invisible containers. And the two main boxes you're going to use are the div and the span. A div is a block container. Think of it like a paragraph. It demands its own space. It takes up the full width it can and forces a new line after it. But a span is inline. It's designed to go inside a line of text, to just wrap around a word or a phrase, maybe to make it bold or a different color, without messing up the flow. So, big box for layout, div. Small wrapper for text, span.
But it's not always about generic boxes. Sometimes you have really specific kinds of information, right? Like a list of steps, or maybe a bunch of data that needs to be in a neat grid. Well, HTML has special tags just for that.
Making a list is super easy. You start by telling the browser, Hey, I'm about to make an unordered list with a UL tag. That's for bullet points. Then for every single item you want in that list, you just wrap it in an LI tag, which stands for list item. That's literally all there is to it.
Tables work the same way, just with a few more pieces. You start with the table tag to hold the whole thing. Then you build it row by row using the TR, or table row tag. And inside each row, you put your cells. Use TH for the bold headers at the top and TD for the regular data cells. See? It's all just boxes inside of boxes.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. That is a lot of tags to remember. But listen, here's the secret. You don't have to. Seriously, nobody sits down and memorizes a dictionary of HTML tags. You just start building stuff, and you'll find yourself using the same handful of tags over and over again until they become second nature. It all comes with practice, I promise.
So there you have it. You've just seen the literal skeleton that holds up the entire World Wide Web. It's simple, it's logical, and it's way more powerful than it looks. So now you know the blueprint. The real question is, what are you going to build with it?